Patents aren't just legal documents, they represent million-dollar decisions. The Patent Matters podcast takes you behind the curtain and shares best practices. Hosted by the experts at Ensemble IP, we're having real conversations with innovators, patent attorneys, agents, and IP leaders who know the stakes and know how to win. Welcome to Patent Matters podcast. This is the second episode in a series of podcasts where we meet with industry experts. We talk about patents and we learn from one another. It's really an honor and a pleasure today to welcome two very fine gentlemen, Siamak Riahi and Vivek Katiyar, two friends and colleagues and folks that I've known for some period of time who I admire greatly in the patent field. Wanted to welcome them today. And today we'll be talking about AI in the conduct of making a patent search. So the process of patent searching, and is it essential and even necessary? So just wanted to welcome my guests today, Siamak and Vivek. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's, are you guys, where are you located? Are you in Canada today, in Toronto?
I am in one of the suburbs of Toronto, 20 miles away from Toronto, north of Toronto, to be exact.
Oh, very good.
And I'm in Kitchener-Waterloo area. It's on the west side, near Toronto.
Very good. It's a great city, and I love visiting it, and such good people there. Tell us a little bit about your journey together. So I know you and I actually worked together many years ago at Land and IP, and then when I left the industry for a while and retired, you continued, and eventually you and Vivek started and lead Riahi Patents. Tell us a little bit about your journey, how the two of you started working together, a little bit about your backgrounds, and what sort of interested you in the patent field.
Absolutely. To just tell you what happened, I left academia, joined Land and IP, and you gave me IP job, the first one. And then a good friend of mine who did the same thing told me, you either love it in 6 months or you hate it and go and find another job. Looks like I loved it and I stayed in the field. But I did a bit of contract work here and there, did search, analysis, and really loved it. And it was give or take around 2017 that I decided to move to Canada and bring the business with me. It took a while, probably a year and a half. But in summer of 2018, I moved to Canada. And a good friend of mine who lived in Vancouver told me that there's potential for IP in Canada. Canadian market is not as strong as American market when it comes to intellectual property, but they're working on it and they want to enhance it. So I brought the business with me, and for a while, I did a bit of a search work, analysis work, helped lawyers with drafting the applications. But I got to know Vivek, and he landed as a new immigrant, and he's going to tell you his journey. But he went back to India to come back to Canada permanently, but COVID hit. And like many of us, we were in this limbo for 12, 14, 15 months. And the business was a bit slow. But we realized there's something here in Canada about the IP market, and Canadian IP market to be exact, with startups, that they need help with intellectual property, but they don't really get that help. And one of the biggest issues here was, let's just file you a patent. And some of them, they were not even familiar with what patent search will do before even filing, before even understanding whether filing a patent is necessary for you or not. So that's where our journey started, and I'll let Vivek to continue with that and what happened with these startups, teaching them what patent search is before even thinking about filing.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Dave, for the opportunity to talk about my journey here. I used to work in India for CPA Global for more than a decade. I came as a new immigrant to Canada, and I was in contact with Siamak about, we completed some projects when I was in India. So when I came here, we thought, okay, let's do something together. And then I had no experience working with startup. You know CPA better than me. So they have big clients. I had no experience working with small companies and startups. When we came here, we decided to let's do something together and help startups. Like we talked to them how we can help them to file quality patents. It's all about searching. It's not just filing. We know how some of the agents and lawyer operate. They always say, okay, let's file a patent and we will see what happens to that. And startup, they lose time and money on the patent and sometimes their inventions too. So we started to work with them. We got few clients. We started working with them. Now they are successful companies, and we help them to build an IP strategy, perform many search patent searches, freedom to operate analysis, completed landscape searches, build a comprehensive and robust IP strategy for them. Thankfully, they are still working with us. They are successful companies, and this is how everything started. We came to know about your tool, and we started using that. We really like that tool, and it is really, really helpful for our search and analysis. We always recommend to our client. Of course, they are a startup or is small and medium sized businesses. They might not be directly using, but they understand the value the tool is creating.
That's fantastic. It's interesting that the two of you started a company, so as a startup, and then you help startups, which is quite interesting. I think it allows you perhaps to understand the challenges that they face, not just in the patent space, but also just operating and making decisions and making innovation decisions and so forth. What's also interesting is that you have very different backgrounds. So, Siamak, I know you're a civil engineer and have a PhD in the field, which I think is fascinating. Every time I go to an amusement park, I'm always praying to the civil engineers that everything's going to work just perfectly fine. And Vivek, you are a computer programmer and expert in computer science and have a master's in that. And I
Yeah.
think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you've done some legal work at York as well. How
I
did you?
am studying. I am studying a course there, Masters in Law. So it's a
Nice.
part time program. It's interesting.
So, how does that work at the organization? Do you break things up by technology, or do you find that the advice and the work that you do can cross over the types of technologies? How does it work, the workload and the process that you follow when you're doing search, analytics, and providing advice?
As you mentioned, we are a startup and we work with startups. So we understand the many challenges, not just the technology, many challenges that they are going through. So that's why startup they like us. They like working with us because we are on the same boat. In terms of working, we understand, of course, most of our clients are in the science and technology field, high tech clients. When they talk, we talk on the same pitch. They understand that we understand the technology, dissect what could be patented, what cannot be patented, and how they should frame their inventions, how they should build their IP strategies so that they know what part need to go in patents, what part they should keep as a trade secret, and how they should form their branding strategies. This is what I think. Siamak, feel free to add on that.
Working with a startup, as both Dave and Vivek mentioned, you need to understand the startup culture. That's one thing that many big firms, when it comes to intellectual property, they don't really understand that. A startup is like a human being. For the lack of a better term, it's a child. It requires food, care, love, you name it. And whether they make it or not, that's debatable. When many of our clients, that I would easily say 75% of our clients are startups or SMEs, small, medium sized enterprises, when they reach out to us, I would say 60% of that 70% client, they work with bigger firms. And they always come to us and sometimes complaining. Clearly, we're not going to entertain that part. But they talk about many things that the firm didn't understand the technology. We never talked to someone at the firm. They never dissected the technology and put some technological background in front of us and also the legal advice. So we ended up talking to a paralegal. We ended up talking to a machine, exchanging emails, and ultimately they sent us a filing receipt of some sort. We took that into consideration and said, let's do something about it. Why don't we understand what they're doing and also split the work into technical part and then drafting an application and filing it? And we have patent agents that are helping us for that matter. Why don't we tell them what happens throughout a process? When they want to file a patent, let's just tell them, bring out what you are thinking in your own mind, the inventiveness, the features, the elements, and let's show you what happens. We need to perform a search. We need to perform an analysis, and then show you with some evidence how novel or inventive your idea is, whether you can file a patent or not. And by doing and experiencing that thing with a handful of clients, we got a good feedback that that was never shared with me. No one really told me that. And then little by little, we introduced them to the search tools for patents and show them what happens behind the scenes, to be fully transparent with them. And that's where they loved it. That's where we showed them the search report. And we show them what exactly happens here that we tell you that you have really low chance of filing a patent. This is gonna fail, by the way. Then we introduce them to different type of search, landscape analysis, freedom to operate, novelty searches. Sometimes litigations happen and we need to do invalidity searches, the differences. So not only did we manage to educate them, but we walk with them throughout the entire journey. And now some of these founders and co-founders, they can maneuver the entire IP strategy for the company on their own and reach out to us whenever they need help. So I would say we managed to educate them, teach them what happens from both technical and legal standpoints.
Are you also doing the work for them, like the searching, like the landscape work or the patentability search work, invalidity and so forth? Or are you teaching them to do that themselves? And in the process of doing that, are you introducing them to the tools so that they can use them, or are you using the tools for serving them?
I'll give you a brief description of what we do and leave the details to Vivek because he gets engaged with them on every single project and every single step of the project. We tell them what happens, how to read the reports. Some of them are really, really new to IP, and we've told them what we use and we've shown them things, but I don't really think they want to use the tools on their own. It's more like teaching them how to read the reports, and we're lucky if they understand how to read the reports and how to interpret that. But I leave the details to Vivek to chime in and just tell what happens with these folks.
As I mentioned, we tell them how these results are coming in the report. So they understand what is going behind. It's not just like previously we used to use just Boolean searches. So we tell them, okay, these results, because they actually want to know how we came up with these results and how they didn't get these results from Google Patents or general searching. So we say them like there are specific methodologies, like how we do the searches and then how we prepare the report. So they actually appreciate the way we are using AI tools like your Quartet, and then we tell them, okay, it's not just this Boolean search, it's also a combination of AI and human intelligence. That's how these results are there, and this is how these reports are being prepared.
Yeah, it's interesting. The three of us have all come from the field prior to the prevalence of AI, using these traditional search methods, Boolean, the keyword searching that's done and so forth, and all the different tools for that. And then we've sort of experienced the advent of AI and how AI could be useful for searching, for analysis, even for drafting. I know that your firm and the two of you are proponents of AI. You believe that there's great value if it's used effectively. Talk a little bit about that. What have you found with respect to AI that's been especially good, and how is it deployed effectively, and how is it not used effectively?
Sure. One thing that I can comment about and tell you what happened during COVID. Many bad things happened during COVID and pandemic, but there was one good aspect, earlier in the process, I learned about all these patent search tools that are using AI or machine learning tools. These terms might have been used loosely by some people, but then I thought, let's test some of them and see how good or bad they're using AI. Prior to that, the only thing that I was using was semantic search on some of these tools, and that was it for me. We started testing some of them, and some of them were good, some of them were bad. We did the search with a Boolean search tool on one hand, and that was the baseline. Let's compare things. Some of the results were not really good. Some of them were somewhat good. Some of them were doing some good justification, for the lack of a better term, but some of them were not really even doing anything close to what the good results should be. One thing that we realized was it's either traditional Boolean search or what is called AI. And AI had different interpretation for each of those tools. One thing that many of our analysts, including myself, they complain about, they say, I need to go back and forth. I'm not 100% relying on this AI tool. I'm still relying on my Boolean search, but I need to manually extract data from one, import it to another one, or I need to constantly open multiple different browsers on multiple different monitors and go back and forth, back and forth. And I'm not really sure how much I can rely on the data and results that I'm getting from these AI tools. And that was something that you've seen some of the reports that we work on. That was, somewhat alarming, but we were constantly walking on eggshells because am I really using the tool correctly? Whatever is coming out from the tool, is it reliable? Can I rely on those results, or do I need to do something else? After I'm done with the AI, should I go back to my traditional Boolean search? What should I do? That was something that we learned between March of 2020 all the way to March, April of 2022, using 4 different tools. And each of those tools, they claim it's good for one thing. If you want to do such and such search, you just put input in such and such way and use this software to get such and such results. There were so many ifs there that it looked like we need to teach our analysts, if you want to perform a certain search, you need to open that tool, do things in such way, forget about your comfort zone, and get the results. So that was something that we were not really comfortable with. And I think we had the conversation, and I will let Vivek continue with that. But then we didn't really know which tool needs to be used when it comes to AI for what kind of search and how much we can rely on the results that it's coming out of that tool. So those were some of the uncertainties that we had along the way.
Yeah, Siamak, you rightly mentioned that. But I believe like AI is a certainly like great tool that we got in terms of patent searching, because previously, well, like we had Boolean search tools. We used to spend a lot of time, although yeah, humans are skilled in doing searches, but that was the time. Like we used to spend, yeah, and this is true with the searching. If we spend 8 hours, we'll get certain results. If we spend more time, 16 hours, we may get better results. So the where AI is helping, you can get better results in 4 hours with combination of human intelligence in the AI power. So with the tool that provided that best combination and where you can maneuver AI, because many tools that we previously used has those were black box. You just feed something, you get the result. You have no idea how algorithm worked, and so that way you never feel confident about the results. You may get the best result, but you have no confidence. And searching is about confidence. If you don't have the confidence saying this is the best report or these are the best references that anybody can get in 8 hours or 10 hours of search, or for example for invalidity, the report, like you are not 100% confident. So the AI, where AI human searching skills can be combined with AI, that's the best thing that you can get with the new technology.
Yeah, it seems the way that you're talking that there's really no individual silver bullet. Like AI can serve a purpose, traditional searching serves a purpose, but also so does the human. There has to be a human in the loop who's essentially the operator of the AI as well as the operator of the traditional search. And that you have to solve real problems so that if you're given situations or conditional situations and you can only use the tool in those specific situations, it's really not helping you to solve a problem. But that a good operator or a skilled person could use the tools effectively if they know when to use them, how to use them, when they have to provide judgment, when the AI seems to be finding good results, when the Boolean approach or the keyword searching approach provides good results as well. Would you agree with that, or do you see it a little differently?
Absolutely correct. The way I put it is just a pilot, airplane, and autopilot. These pilots, they rely on autopilot, right? But you still need to have the best pilot in the world to know how to use autopilot, right? I don't know whether we see a day that a plane can go with just autopilot transatlantically, right? Because situations, they change, right? And in order to be able to use the autopilot, you have to have the best trained pilot in the world, in my opinion. AI is the same thing for patent searching. You have the talent, you have the analyst who's worked in the field for 5, 6 years, right? And you put the best tool in front of them, they can use it and they know how to use it. But whether they're going to rely on a machine to do everything for them or not, that's a debatable question. I think when you put the best tool, which is manual searching, Boolean searching, AI, and you put the best talent, the best analyst, the best searcher there, they can use it. The outcome would be fantastic. But if you put someone who is not familiar with the process, then the outcome would be not that great. If you even put the best talent, but they cannot really control things manually, then the outcome would be manipulated by just the machine.
Yeah. It's interesting also that in your practice, you're not just assisting folks with search, right? So you're looking at the competitive landscape, you're providing advice on the direction IP strategy that a startup could follow. You're working with agents, you're assisting as they're filing patent applications. So in your case, you probably need a whole series of tools that help you or potentially could help you. And at last count, I was talking with a gentleman yesterday who counted up 65 different tools in the patent field that allegedly had some amount of AI in them. And I thought to myself, well, who could afford 65 tools? And so even if you group them, there's probably a half dozen or a dozen tools for different purposes. As you evaluate all the possibilities for your practice, well, how do you make that decision? Do you just choose one tool that's good at many things and then manually do the other thing? Or is it better to just have a very specific tool for a very specific purpose at a very low price to help you in those particular situations? Or is it something else? How do you go through that process? How do you handle all of that complexity? How do you even evaluate all of those different possibilities and those different systems that are out there?
You're absolutely right about it. Our journey starts with probably patent search or trademark search, and that's just the beginning, but it plays a significant role how good of a search that we have in order to take us to the next level for these startups or SMEs. So it is very crucial for us to use the right tools in order to get good results, in order to take it to the next level. Because a bad tool with a bad search, bad analysis, ultimately it's going to harm some of the IP strategies for these companies. Like the gentleman told you, we've used many tools, not to mention any names. You're familiar with some of the tools that we've tested and we've used. At some point, you need to draw the line because using too many tools, it could be distracting and you may receive some noise instead of the actual results that you're looking for. And we decided to do that after trying different tools, after realizing that we need to optimize things, for the lack of a better term. And we need to be able to go between AI and Boolean and manual. And if there's a tool that can combine both to some extent, that would be great for us. Some of the traditional tools for pattern searching, as you know, they claim that they have some AI components, but it's not real AI that we're looking for. We want something to help us. So we try different things, but we try to limit ourselves to a few good tools that we can get the best results out of it. And definitely, we go through the same challenge. Every time that there's a search or there's a search that we need to do something about it, we go through the same challenge with all this, that which tool would be the best for us. But I think we're at a point, and Vivek can confirm that we know what needs to be used for most of the search work and analysis that we're doing.
Yeah. And honestly, despite having so many tools for different things like trademark searches, patent searches, we still we are also developing our tools because we feel that gap. There is something that could have been done. So we developed a tool to perform an analysis, patent and when we get the best result from the best search tools, then we feed those results into our tool and to prepare the report, doing search and analysis. We are also working on a docket tool because we research about many docket tools for patent related work. Either those were not efficient or those were too expensive for the work that they were doing. So not just the finding a right tool that is available, we are also thinking about if we can develop something in house that's also helpful.
Yeah, I can. That goes back to your experience as a computer scientist, I think.
Yeah.
I was going to say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's a restless group of people. They always see a way to do something better, and so interesting. So even with all the tools that are out there, you still find that there's an opportunity to do something that's improved. And you've built. I know you have this sort of a patent analysis or a patent analytics tool that you've built or that you're building, and now you're mentioning docketing as well. Are these the types of tools that you would add them to, you're just basically getting information out of another system and doing additional work, or is it something that can evolve into uh, an enterprise level system?
Yeah, you're right. We heard about it, and we see like there are many very good tools. Those are doing very good job in terms of patent searching. But we felt something is missing, or maybe particular to us. We thought that there is an opportunity that we can design a system where you can get the results from best search tools based on your comfort level, because searchers, they have comfort zone with some search tools. If somebody is using one particular tool, they'll always comfortable with this, with that. So we designed a tool that takes the result from, you can take the result from different, no matter like how you get the result, you just feed those results in the system that we develop, and then AI can do certain things and identify the best possible match for the key features that you feed in, and then generate the report based on, of course there is some human analysis involved. Of course you cannot rely 100% to AI, but AI can help in identifying the best matching portions from the document itself. So yeah.
Yeah, earlier you had mentioned that with startups, they don't necessarily want to use the tool themselves, that you educate them um, on what you have found, and you're educating them on the patent field, whether their innovations are patentable, and if they file, you're introducing them to agents who might be able to help them. But for them to actually do the work themselves is not necessarily preferred because there might be some level, a learning curve that they have to get on. I've actually found that in addition to startups, though, even experts struggle with using some of the tools that are out there, especially when you talk about like the traditional search engines, the Boolean engines and so forth. You can be a very smart patent attorney, but you just don't feel comfortable doing a Boolean search. You don't feel comfortable searching by subclass. You may not know which classes and subclasses are important. Obviously, you can evaluate a search because you're a patent attorney. Do you believe that AI will help solve that problem as well? Will it not only find relevant prior art, but will AI also get to the point where it's applied for a workflow, where it's more automated? It goes into the direction of being more automated and easier to do so that you're actually not worried about, what IPC class you're concerned with. It suggests an IPC class, or it just does the search both from a Boolean and perhaps an AI perspective. It combines the two and it more gives you the results. It becomes more of a discovery engine than a search engine. Do you think that that is the possible direction, or do you think it's not?
It might be. To just go back to what ended up being the case for us to develop some of these tools like the docket or patent analysis. We wanted our clients to be more engaged in the process. So now when they log into the docket, they can see everything related to their IP strategy in one place. If they want to share it with their investor or anyone who is interested, they can just share what is going on. With the patent analysis, we give them the liberty of maneuvering through a report, which is more engagement. To your point, with AI and search, with many patent attorneys, it could be more intuitive in a sense that gives them better confidence to do things and learn as they do things. For example, when we share a report with an attorney or agent, everything is in front of them, and they may come up with suggestion, can you go and look into subclass such and such for me? Had we not performed the search, they would have probably never asked us to do so. So AI could also do the similar thing and guide them in a direction that, since you have this classification came out of this search, so this is a suggestion, might as well just dig into subclasses A, B, C, and look into those. It's easier said than done, though. We are thinking and we say, it's really great on paper. Is it really doable? Same thing that I do with our software developer. And all the time that Vivek and him, they correct me because I say, why don't you go and make those changes? They pause, they smile, and they say, I'll try, but it's not that easy. So it's one of those things that happens inside our brain, which is a really complicated processor. But when you want to mimic that with AI, you need data. You need to train it. You know this better than we do, right? Training these models takes time, and you need data. And, troubleshooting them is a different whole process.
Just to add to Siamak's point, the confidence is a key here. So if any tool that can provide that confidence to a person, like no matter whether it's a patent attorney or a software or startup founder, anybody, if that tool can provide that confidence to the person that who is using that tool, whether it's AI. Sometimes AI is just a black box. If they don't see what is going inside that, what class is being searched, what the synonyms being used, so they won't feel confident. But if they know that we test all things, or like we did assignee search, we did CPC, IPC, classification, keywords, synonyms, everything. So we get that confidence. So if a tool, any tool can do that, can provide that confidence, I guess, people will start using that tool for that.
Yeah. Not too long ago, your firm actually conducted an evaluation of our search tool, which is called Quartet, which is an AI-enabled patent search system. So it has some of the things that you've talked about. It has an AI engine. It has a Boolean engine. It allows you to do a patent search by class and subclass, searching multiple jurisdictions. But when you did the evaluation of it, I always assumed that a human doing a Boolean search would always be better than an AI search by itself. Like you do a Boolean search, it's always going to be better than any AI search alone. And it surprised me when you discovered that there were definitely occasions where the AI alone was better than the Boolean search. But in no situation was the Boolean by itself better than an AI and Boolean search together. So that kind of surprised me. I always assumed Boolean would always be better than AI, and therefore maybe not even necessary to do an AI search. But you've actually found that the two together provide the best results. Was that a surprise for you, or were you already
In
anticipating that?
in terms of methodology, like using AI and Boolean, even before we kind of analyze your quartet for that, we did this type of analysis on different tools too, and we found that the combination of AI and Boolean was always, for the most of the cases, like not always, yeah, for most of the cases was better than just the Boolean search. So that's when we thought, look, no, AI is not just a bluff. It will come soon. And then when we were testing Quartet, we got that we you had those results, and you saw that AI plus combination of AI and Boolean have outperformed all the Boolean and only Boolean or only AI based search results.
One of the things that I always there was a misconception in my own mind when I started learning about AI 5-6 years ago in patent search. I always thought the superimposing results will work out. You have your Boolean, you have your AI, superimpose them. It doesn't work that way. It's not a linear thing. The other thing which was really interesting about Quartet when we compare it with the other tools, just having the freedom to do the Boolean search at the same place and do not going back and forth, save time and convergence level in terms of finding good results was amazing. That was another thing that within a handful of cases, we realized you can get directed in the right place when using Quartet. And that was coming out of AI, to my surprise, because I never thought that AI can do that. But again, the analyst had the freedom and liberty of going back to Boolean, get something from AI, put it into Boolean, go to subclasses, and then come back and use AI for other things. So that was one of the things that proved me wrong in terms of a good AI and a good model can do good job. At the same time, the Boolean can help the analyst to teach the analyst, you're still in charge. We didn't take away your ability. You can still use the cruise control, but the steering wheel is in your hands, for lack of a better word, right? Yeah. I don't know whether it's a psychological effect or whatever, but they realize that I'm in charge, I can still use my talent, but AI is there to help me, and I need to rely on that help. The results, the convergence level, I don't know whether this is the correct term or not, in my opinion, from an engineer mind. I think things were not diverging in terms of results. They were just getting directed to the right place that we were expecting within the shortest amount of time. I think we did a timestamp sort of thing that within a certain time, what comes out of results, and then after that timeline. And that test also showed that the good results, they actually came out pretty quickly, within like an hour and a half. So that also matters for patent searches, right? You have a certain time. Give a patent analyst 2 million years. They're gonna find better results for you. But you have a limited time, 8 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, till next day. So that was also a huge factor when we started using Quarter.
Yeah, you mentioned a few things that really resonate with me. One is, as service providers, we're always given a budget and amount of time that when the work can be done. It's not open-ended. It has to be done by a certain period, and
Exactly.
therefore only a certain amount of time can be used. And if you don't find relevant prior art, It's sort of a black mark, a black stain on you that it's hard to get rid of. So these tools can be very helpful, especially with AI if used in conjunction with Boolean, to get more done and get better results in the time that you're given. The other thing that resonates with me is the fact that you're intuitively saying that searching is iterative, and it was before AI. It was an iterative process before AI, and it's still an iterative process, and that's okay. And maybe that's preferable, because if you have a very intelligent person who's has that domain expertise, if you know that technology, if you know about patenting, if you know about searching, you still want to be able to do a search and revise it and iterate on it so that you can get better results in the time that you're given. And that if you're given a timeline that you were talking about, which is what we have in Quartet, where you're doing a Boolean search and you look at the results, and you can then use AI on those results, it's iterative. Or if you're given AI results, you can do a Boolean search on those AI results, it's iterative. And so that the two can go hand in glove, that they can work very effectively together, with that third party being the person or the operator, the human in the loop that allows you to get better results. So that's a good thing to hear. I sometimes, not that often, but a couple of years ago, I would talk to professional patent information scientists, really brilliant people. They still are, but a few of them would say, I don't ever want to use AI. I know what I'm doing, and I just see that as not being able to do a better job than me. I wonder if it was really that, or if it was really, I just don't want to change. I don't want to like, I'm important now, and I know what I'm doing, and this is threatening to me, or it's threatening to my career. But I think what we're finding with us, and also with you, is that it's really not threatening. It actually just allows you to be a person who has a jetpack on your back, and allows you to travel faster and farther.
Yeah, I need to tell you something that people that are listening to this podcast later, they can look at it. So they don't really think that I'm biased. And since I know you, I'm saying Quartet is really great tool.
Yeah.
I was skeptical. I didn't believe it. So when we talked and you say we have a tool, I said, well, let's test it. I wasn't an AI believer, I have to admit. I wasn't really thinking that this is going to take over. But when we used it, and I'm a person that I think numbers, results, they speak for themselves. I was probably raised as an engineer with that mindset that I need to see the results, I need to see the evidence in order to believe something. And after we tested, honestly, I realized that this is something can help us significantly. It's not something that is gonna take away the business from us, take away the entire freedom from us. It can help us.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing that, because even with this podcast, my goal is not to turn it into a customer success story or a product positioning message. It's really to understand the field and see what's going on, what's useful, what's helping folks, and what's not. I would have much rather not have created Quartet. It's very expensive, and it continues to be very expensive. It costs a fortune to build these sorts of things. And life's a lot easier when you don't have to take a chance or a risk. So from our perspective, it's about, how do we improve and help the industry as much as possible. And I don't think that we're alone, because I remember reading last year that the U.S. Patent Office, for example, they came out in April of last year and said that at least 80% of examiners have used AI on at least 480,000 cases, and that they thought it was, an important part of any prior art search, that AI should be included to make sure that the search is more complete. So even the Patent Office in the United States believes that you shouldn't just allow a search to be done without AI, that it is important, and that therefore you're getting better results. And they have 480,000 cases to prove it. At least that's what they've said. So,
Almost 500,000.
Yeah, I must have a million.
And to your point, it's combination of multiple different things. Getting out of your comfort zone is not easy for anything. You want to switch payroll, you need to learn another thing, right? Tool. You need to learn their UI. It's not easy. Just imagine you're using a search tool for 5 years, for 10 years. You figure things out. You even know where you need to put your query, right? You change that. The entire UI changes, even the colors, even the themes, right? Getting used to the new tool is not easy. So just imagine you're introducing something like AI and you're forcing an expert who's been doing this thing for a decade to go through a different process and get used to that. So I think as a human being, we get really comfortable in adopting new technology, depending on how intuitive it is, might be a little bit hard for us. Once we just pass through that burden, then we enjoy it and we say, how did I live without it?
Yeah,
We
exactly.
complain on a daily basis about, I want to turn off my phone. I loved it when I couldn't really check my email all the time. But we still use it because so much good comes out of it. And if one day we wake up and there's a new technology that we can benefit from, we're going to adopt it. We still complain about it. We still adopt it. We still use it when we enjoy it.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I remember many years ago, it's almost 40 years now, when I was going through college and I would work construction to help pay for college as a bricklayer. And the foreman would disappear for 45 minutes and then come back. And I remember asking him where he was, and he goes, I had to make a phone call. He had to find a payphone. And think of the 45 minutes that are now saved. You can work and talk at the same time. So it's definitely improvement.
We saw a payphone a few weeks ago with my family here. My little niece doesn't even know what it is because in her own mind, phones, they don't need to have any sort of wires. To her, phones can be in your pocket. That's all she knows about it. To me, seeing a payphone, I grew up during payphones, by the way. It took me like 5 seconds to remember why we used them.
Yeah, yeah. They were extremely convenient.
They,
Yeah, I have to say, this has been a wonderful time with you. Really, I've learned a lot. And I've even been surprised at the direction of the podcast, because it wasn't just about technology, it was about people and how we as professionals can adopt technology effectively, and in this case, AI, and not just for search, but you're proving it on the analytics side and on the prosecution side. It shows me that we as human beings are always on a quest to learn and to improve. And that's probably what's wonderful about being in the IP space, right? We get to see innovations, but we also get to see innovations in people and not just technology. And so it's been a real pleasure. I'm hoping that more opportunities where we can talk on podcast. And I really appreciate your willingness to be an important part of this new Patent Matters podcast, and this episode in particular. I wanted to see if you had any last words or last advice for startups or people in the industry about anything related to this practice.
Sure, thank you for having us. I'll add a few things, if I may. Taking risk is all you need. I took a risk. I don't know if I have to say it. I think I can say it. Coming out of academia, took a job as a postdoc at University of Michigan. 7 months into it, I hated the job. And I realized in the corner of a lab, I'm not going to survive. So I applied for an IP job at Landon IP, and I loved it probably within 3 weeks. Guess why? I didn't need to do one project for 3 years. I did searches, probably 2 or 3 of them every week, and got to learn about technology, got to learn about people, got to learn about there's so much out there that I'm not even familiar with. It looked like I needed to take that job 2 years earlier, but I had to learn it the hard way. My advisor told me, if you take an R&D job in Boston, Massachusetts, that's great in a combustion field. If you take the IP job, I don't know what comes out of it. And surprisingly, I took the IP job and I know what came out of it. So just one thing, take the risk. You know, you built the tool, you took the risk, and honestly, this comes not from a friend, from someone who has taken risks. I've moved 15 times in my life. I've lived in 3 different countries. There's something about taking the risk and learn about it. So I always tell startup founders and co-founders, we always tell them that you just need to take the risk. You know, in your own mind, you're doing something novel. You never know until you just go through the whole process. Thanks for having us, by the way. It's always great talking to you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave, for giving us the opportunity to speak.
My pleasure. And Vivek, also you took the risk. So just like Siamak, who I think you left Iran and came to the U.S. and eventually Canada, you took the risk of going to Canada. And so you guys are natural risk takers and innovators. It's fascinating to see.
Thank you for saying this.
Yeah.
He took the risk working with me because, in my opinion, it's not an easy thing to do.
Well, that was easy because I don't know anything about civil engineering or computer programming. And so I'll tell you what, without you, I'm dead in the water. So, well, it's an honor and we appreciate it. And thank you so much.
Thank you.